We're live. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. You made it today. Oh my gosh, people are here. So thank you so much for coming today to our little write-in. As always, I am Lisa Daly, and I have my lovely and talented co-hosts with me today. People, introduce yourselves. Let's start with Savvy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Savvy. I'm from the YouTube channel SAVY Writes Books, where I talk about books and writing and being a small business owner. And often we expose business scams out there because I think those are fascinating and terrible. So, yeah, that's me. I'm excited to see all you guys again.
Thank you so much. All right, Carrow, tell us what you're all about.
Hi, my name is Carrow Brown. I am an urban fantasy author and the operations director over at Otherworld Inc. On my channel, you can find stuff where I either talk about writing, I whine about writing, I whine about books under the influence of wine. There's all sorts of stuff over there. Have fun.
And story detective Robert Jones.
That's my channel, Story Detective, and I review books, movies. I analyze everything that's story-oriented, mostly about writing and craft, and I do tech reviews and unboxings as well.
Very nice. I'm Lisa Daly. I'm a traditionally published author of 8 or 9 books. I don't remember. I kept saying 8, but then someone said I think it's 9 at my mic. And so I have to go back and count. But either 8 or 9, who knows? And my channel is about writing advice and really putting out the best book that you possibly can. So if you are looking to write a book you're super proud of and get it published, this is a great place to be. Yeah. So we are so excited that you guys are here today. And as you may have seen from the thumbnail, even though I have not posted it anywhere yet, thank you all for being here, regulars. Our theme today is happiness, because I know a lot of us have really struggled with writing during this time, and as they like to say in the commercials, during this difficult time. And I had read this book a while back called The End of Stress by a guy named Don Joseph Goey. And he's basically this trauma therapist. And he and his team go into these different areas where horrible things have happened, and they help people sort of overcome them. And one of the best pieces of advice I think that he had is something that's super easy to do and has been shown in a number of studies to actually make people happier on a day-to-day basis. And that is to specifically think about the things that you are grateful for. So I have decided that I'm going to surprise all of you today, starting with Robert, Carrow, and Savvy. Surprise! To talk about the things that we're really grateful for writing-wise, right? Because this can be a really tough industry to be in. It can sometimes, when you're all by yourself writing alone, feel like you're all by yourself writing alone. And so we're going to talk about stuff that we're grateful for today. And one of the things I'm grateful for is our awesome commenters, everybody who shows up every week, all of our regulars. I love you guys. We love you. We're so happy that you are here with us every week. So let's hear from some people. All right. Number 1 in line today, Devin Cutting. Yay. Hi, Devin. We're so glad you made it. Okay. I'm sorry. Carol is technically here first. She says, I'm here hitting this like button because I can. I do what I want. That's true. That's true. Spend 2 minutes with Carol. That becomes abundantly clear. So, BC Brown, we're so glad you made it. Yay. Nihilist Geek is here. He helped me out yesterday. Oh, that's one of my first grateful for today. Nihilist Geek yesterday sent me a little Twitter message and said, hey, there's something squirrely going on with your tags on your new video. And I checked it out, and sure enough, he was right. So thank you very much, Nihilist Geek. Very helpful. Happy for you. All right. BC Brown Book says, hey, writing weirdos. I'm barely awake and definitely not dressed, but I'm here. That's okay. That we're running a clothing option stream today. So Just for you guys, not for our co-hosts.
I totally put the clothes on. Don't worry.
So keep your pants on, everybody. Okay. Oh my God, did you guys see that? Like the newscaster on the Today Show?
No.
Okay, so it was floating around social media yesterday. Young guy in Florida reporting on something for a stringer.
Florida man.
And originally when he came on camera, and of course all these people are shooting from their houses and setting up their own cameras. When he comes on, there's like a title underneath. So he's talking, it's like a normal segment, but then they pull the title down as he's talking with the co-host. He's not wearing pants. He says it was shorts, but you could really just see to the end of his jacket. And I think it was sort of like one of his kind of first foray into national media. He's probably all excited. He's doing the Today Show. And he's not wearing pants. And it was all over instantly. Although I will say he was a very good sport about it and really funny and like made a bunch of jokes. So yeah, if you have a chance, which I'm sure you're all doing right now, head on over to Twitter and look for the pantsless weather guy. All right.
Overrated anyway, so.
Yay. That's awesome. Fantastic. Joan Ninja Hen. Yay. We're so glad you made it. Sarah's here. Good morning. Bellow there, humans. Story Detective says hi, everybody. That's good. Nobody is awake today. Michael Edward McPhee, I just realized I lost the outlining program I've been using. I can't even remember what it's called to look for it. Help them out, commenters.
Tell us about it. What does it look like?
Ooh, good.
Yeah.
Question. What does it look like?
I need a clue.
Yes, give us some clues. We will figure this out for you. We promise. All right, Bonnie Phillips. I just said that. I hope I can keep that promise. Bonnie Phillips, good morning. We're so glad you're here. Hannah Palmer's here. Yay, so great to see you. Debbie, is it Renew? I can't remember. I remember your avatar, though. Debbie, super excited you're here. I apologize if this is the second time I'm asking you, but will you please send your name phonetically in the comments? Theo Savvy says, hi, Daily Brown's Savvy Detective friends. Yay. This is like one of my favorite parts of the stream is Theo's little special nickname for the day. All right. Dal Cecil Runo having a lot of nightmares.
Oh no.
That's terrible. I hope you're. Yeah. It's not. Is it about the pants? It's about the guy not wearing the pants, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I hope they're not terrible. Bones, I missed that. Did we have an appearance from?
He doesn't want to jump on my lap anymore these days. He'll come and have a head cameo and then he'll run off. So that's why I've changed my name.
I got it. All right. Fantastic. Yes, I'm the same today. Who am I again? Haley's here. Hello, Haley. We're so glad you made it. All right. Sympathy for Michael Edward B. from BC Brown. We feel you. Give us some details. All right, hold on. I just remembered. Thank you, Dal, helping BC Brown out today. That's good. Wavemaker. Oh. Oh my gosh. I have not used that. Do you like it? Aside from
I think it's great.
Have you?
I've never used any software for other than I write in Google Docs or in Microsoft Word. That was excellent.
Thank you. My spouse is working from home today, if you couldn't tell.
Mr. Brown.
That was an excellently framed shot right there.
That really was perfect.
If you think I'm sassy,
there's a reason that you two are together, I'm sure. Yeah, so my brain too, Michael, I feel ya. So what do you guys use besides Word? I use Scrivener and Word. I love Scrivener because it works the way my brain works. Carrow, I know you use Scrivener too, right?
I actually use Wavemaker.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I did a whole review about Wavemaker and why it's amazing and it's free. But if you're like an anti-Google person, you're probably going to make a frowny face at it. But one of the things I like about it is I've got like a Chromebook that I use, and Chromebooks actually can't really store a lot of stuff on it, but because it's all in the cloud, basically wherever I can find a Wi-Fi connection at, I can work on my stuff, and it works a lot like Scrivener does.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic.
You should go to my channel and look at my review for it.
Yes, check out Carrow's channel. If you send me a link in the comments, Carrow, I will put it down in the description for all y'all. And if you remind me, wait, hold on, what's the time? 11:10. If you remind me, I will link to it in the video after I post it. Carrow review Wavemaker.
Yeah, the creator of it actually commented on the video too, and I was like,
really?
Yeah, I was like, whoa, y'all watching my stuff? What's happening?
You're fancy, Carrow. You're very fancy. All right. Sky's here. Yay. Just getting home from picking up the farm truck from the shop. Not on my computer yet. We're very glad you made it. Thank you very much. All right. Let's see if there's anybody we haven't said hi to. All right. Whoa. Hold the phone. We just got like a whole bunch of... Good gracious. Georgie Sullivan says, I saw that, Lisa. I don't know what I just did. All right. Oh, yay. Mission accomplished. Oh, I see. Okay, got it. Georgie saw the pants free today segment.
Oh.
Oh I always assume newscasters never wore pants in the studio.
Yeah, why would they need to? Especially sitting at a desk, you know?
Yeah, although a lot of the news desks, having worked around in and around TV for a long time, a lot of the news desks are glass.
Oh.
Yeah. So pants are more, important than you might think.
That's an OCD nightmare. Fingerprints everywhere. No.
I know. Well, yeah. It's that. I don't know why they do that. It's reflective too. You wouldn't think that they will, but they would. But a lot of times they're like, sometimes they're glass. I don't know. I think they think it looks more like high-techy and studio-ish. Yeah. All right. PJ pants for Joan Ninja Hen. I'm really like a PJs all day kind of girl.
Same.
Honestly, right? PJs, or when I was riding at the beach every day, swimsuit. But other than that, I like to be cash. For me,
it's like if I put on jeans, that means I dressed up. So generally, if I'm going to film videos for my channel, I'll put on jeans for like a couple hours. But I've gotten to the point where it's like putting on pajamas is getting dressed for me. And like then I sleep naked and wake up and put on pajamas. And it's like, well, now I have to put something on so I can walk my dog. So it's like I've just completely like shifted it a whole step back of my formality levels.
I will confess that I have like thrown a dress over my pajamas in order to go walk the dog and then taken the dress off when I got back home. And I'm not talking about at night. I'm talking about midday. I will say though, I have these little dresses in about a million different colors because I love them because they're just like pajamas.
Oh, that's nice. Right?
They look fancier, but they're really basically just slightly nicer pajamas. All right. I thought there were basketball shoes. All right. Oh my gosh. I don't like gratitude very much, but I spent 15 minutes last night gushing about how much I love the Authortube community and how much you've all helped me, and I'm grateful to be. Aww, that's so great.
I think that there's also a difference between like I know that gratitude sometimes can feel forced, I think, especially because like right now there's a lot of, like you were mentioning, an author put this idea out there. I think there's a lot of like Instagram influencers putting out this whole like, what are you grateful for? Tell me what you're grateful for. Positive vibes only. So I think that
Grateful Friday.
Yeah, make the idea of feeling grateful like, okay, are we mandatory? Are we going to force ourselves to be positive again? But I think that there's a difference between that and like genuinely expressing what you're happy about. I think.
Well, it can be a little thing. Like I will say that last week, and part of the reason for this is like I really had like a rough week last week. Like I didn't feel well. Carrow, I know, was sick last week.
My dogs are in the ER.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last week was horrible.
Yeah. So I was like every day trying to just come up with like something I could be happy about. And on some days it was ice cream sandwiches, which you may have heard me mention 700 or 800 times during this exciting time in our lives. But on some days, ice cream sandwiches were the best I could do. Or some line that I wrote where I was excited because I really have not been feeling it writing-wise. Or just something really nice. Like I actually had a great time on the stream last week. And Savy's live stream, I did not make it. I actually fell asleep last week.
That's totally fair.
But the week before, it was so funny. You guys were so hilarious. I intended to stay for 5 minutes and I stayed for like 30. And I had a great time. So I'm trying to think of things.
Yeah.
If it feels like a forced thing, then don't. But if you can think of a little tiny thing, anything that makes you feel better, then that can help. All right, let's see. Ooh, Nihilist Geek had.
Oh, nice. Congrats.
See, that's a grateful right there. Nice job.
Very nice.
Congratulations. That's very awesome. While he's busy like raking in the views, he also is out like making sure that he's like the channel fairy. He was making sure that my tags were in order. And for that, very grateful. So gratitude culture. Yeah, not that. You can use whatever word. This is almost like the word forgiveness. Like some people have a very specific definition. Some people want to change the meaning. And people get really worked up about it. And if gratitude is a word that gives you the heebie-jeebies, use another one. And if you don't feel fucking gratified for anything today, then just say like, I feel whatever. I'm okay. I'm cool. All right. I have a shady offer of a web publisher called Sorty Play. I can't even Google them. That sounds.
Yeah.
That sounds.
If the offer was worded in a way that sounded shady, I would say it's probably shady.
Yeah.
Trust your intuition on things like that.
Yeah. And if you can't Google them,
yeah,
that's a bad sign. Look and see if you can find anything on Editors and Predators. I haven't. It sounds kind of smutty, really.
Well, the first thing that came.
Well, you look them up. You found something?
Oh, the first thing I found was just a group of people that mostly focus on publishing books about how to work with swords.
Okay.
Did they not give you as somebody who works with a publisher, anytime I'm like, hey, I work with this publisher. Here's my contact info. There's their website. Here's how you find me really quickly. If you have any questions, please
do they not link you to their website or anything?
Yeah.
I feel like looking at the website would be the biggest indicator.
Easy to find.
Well, any other books? Check on Amazon. Often if you search the publisher name, you can find books that they publish. So check that. See what else there is.
It's like a web publisher and they're online exclusive publishing. They might not be on Amazon.
Maybe not. It seems like a big market to not be involved in, though. All right, here we go. Dal, you should have even more. That's right, Nihilist Geek. Good stuff. Especially this past week's video was really good. About the drama queens. Special delivery coffee. That is something. Woo-hoo. Nihilist Geek says, thank you at my sub number. That's an awesome number. You know what? At any number, that's an awesome number. That's fantastic. Joan Ninja Hen says, that's great. Hannah says, congrats. She really enjoyed your last video. Look at that. You guys are awesome. All right. BC Brown says she's looked into Wavemaker. I think she might start using it instead of Scrivener. She's all about saving money and supporting open source stuff. All right. That's cool. CO Savvy is happy to have writer friends like Lisa, Carrow, Savvy, and Robert.
Oh, yay!
Oh, you know what? I think there's something about families of choice versus families of origin. And sometimes if your family of origin can't support you in the way that you need to be supported, you have to, choose some people to be your sort of alternate family. So I'm glad we could be your little writer family.
Yep.
Hey, little. All right, you guys are awesome. I am going to put up, let's see, here we go. Wavemaker disappeared. Will it reappear if I reboot my PC? All right, Carol, while you answer that question, I'm going to track down, you're gonna have to do better and longer than that.
Okay, well,
while you're answering.
I can't really tell you where it went on your computer because I don't know what computer you have and all that other stuff. If you can't find it, then and you did a search and you can't find the application there, then you may have to re-download it. My concern is if you do that is because Wavemaker is based on a cache thing, and if you haven't uploaded your recent stuff to the cloud, it may not be there. That's like the one downside to the program is if you don't upload your stuff to the cloud, it only stays on your PC, and if something happens to your PC, so there's hard to say. You can try rebooting and see what happens, friend, but I don't have the answer for that. So mostly because I don't understand the vast background technical side of what happens with that program. So
oh my gosh. All right.
Sorry, friend.
This is my one, well, not my only fear, but one of my fears about the cloud. In some ways, I love the cloud. In other ways, I'm terrified that it will just become a sunny day, the cloud will disappear, and all my writing will go with it. So
I've had bad experiences with not using the cloud, with using the cloud. Like there's pros and cons to everything, but my personal thing is that I lean towards the cloud just because before the beverage bug, I was very mobile. Like I would go out to places and I would be things. It would just be easy for me to open up my Chromebook and just pull stuff up. So
right. Yeah. Well, yes to that. The other thing that I do is constantly email myself, especially when I'm close to the end, constantly email my drafts to myself just as like a backup. So, all right, you guys, let's get rolling with our 5-minute warm-up sprint. I know we have some folks doing Camp Nano, and they've got 2 days left, so we got to get some awesome writing in. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about things that we're happy about, grateful for, delighted about, whatever. All right, here we go.
I was like, say, bring the timer back.
I'm bringing it back. No, I'm just gonna count it off. No. All right, you guys, we're gonna start off with a 5-minute warm-up sprint, and then we'll come back, chat a little, and do some 20-minute sprints. Well, we're starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Here we go. Let's get rid of that one. All right. So, is there? Oh, I still have. Hold on, I muted Savvy. Oh no, Savvy muted herself.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. How did everybody do? And what are you working on today? We did not talk about that because we were talking about stuff we were happy about. So what are you guys working on today?
I'm actually working on my tarot project again. Every now and then I talk about it. I'm talking about it again. Because just the background story for you guys is that I started wanting to make a cheat sheet because I do like morning practice for this stuff, and I just got tired of juggling through like, you know, an F ton of books to do one thing, and what was supposed to be like maybe 5 pages is turned into like it's 30,000 words right now, and I'm just gonna keep going with it.
I love that you're doing this because it seems like such a passion project for you.
Yeah, I actually started drawing them too. Like, let me show you one.
Yeah, love to. How about you? Oh, I didn't. I thought you had to go farther. Okay, never mind. We'll wait.
Don't fall in first. I need you in my life. But yeah, no, I started drawing them, and I think I'll put them probably in the book too, like a coloring thing, so people can like color it. I thought about doing it myself, but I think letting others do it is probably going to be better.
Hold on. Wait. Look at this. I just made you the one. Those are so cool. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. All right. That's cool. That's a new button I just learned today. I just want you guys to know. I saw the little tutorial when I logged in. I'm like, ooh, I should try that. Thank you for giving us the opportunity, Carol. So, Robert, what are you working on? Are you still doing your edits?
Yes, but I actually rewrote some of the planning. I found that since I did this project for a past nano, it had a bunch of holes and there were gaps, and my underwriting did not work because it's a one-shot. It ties into the series, but for one shot, I thought it should be like 75 or 80,000 words, like a traditional length.
Yeah.
And I didn't have enough material there to fill it out, plus the usual holes that you accumulate during a nano. So I went and I just re-outlined the project. I took a few days off from social media and I fixed some things so I have a direction.
That's good. I do find that if I am struggling with a book, that going back to the outline,
yes,
and really moving things around. This is one of the reasons why I love sticky notes. And actually, early on when I would outline my books, I used to get these index cards that had the sticky note stuff on the back. I can't find them anymore, but they came in different colors, which was great because then you could, you know, do things for different characters, and they stuck, so you could put them all over your wall or your whiteboard. And this is one of the things that I love about the sticky note or the note card system is that you can move things around as you need to, and you're not. Yeah, it really makes a huge difference. Well, do you feel like now that you've done that, have you started writing again now that you've completed the process?
Energy is coming back. Today I'm going back and forth between editing a video and a proposal, but yes, there's definitely more encouragement to get back to the writing and do the rewrites.
That's
in terms
great.
of doing the outlining stuff, I use index cards like you said,
Mm-hmm.
and I handwrite my outline. If I'm working on a new project, I have to do it that way. I think it has more energy going from mind to hand.
Yeah.
And also, I use my outline like most people use a zero draft. And I keep the index card so it's short. And by the time I'm done, I have basically a shorthand draft of my book.
Hello, Chewy. Are you making noise?
That is great. I know I always really think of myself as a plotter, but I don't do like a big significant outline. You're seeing it right there. Like that is an entire book outline. And maybe I'll add some other, sometimes I have to write on the back of the Post-it note, but for the most part, it's just a roadmap. You know, go to Utah and that's it. So I do find that really helps. So I'm glad that that's helping you. I really want to know how the writing goes once you sort of get back into it with that.
Yeah, should be either later today or tomorrow, I hope.
Ooh, so we'll find out soon. All right, fantastic. Savvy, what are you working on? Are you still doing the business book?
Yeah, so I'm planning, so since I'm hosting a live stream tonight as well, I'm planning to work on my business book writing during my live stream tonight. So during this stream, what I'm doing is working on storyboarding. So I don't know if I've probably mentioned this on the stream before, but in February, I ran a contest to get stories of people's senior dogs. So for the next book in my Forever Home Friends series, we're going to feature 12 different elderly dogs and their stories. So right now I'm just like, I got this notebook here that's like half of the pages are lines. I don't know if it's showing up, and half is like empty. So I've been like writing so for each dog, I'm writing a little poem about each dog. And then right now I'm kind of mapping out the art for it. So I'm like storyboarding and like outlining the pages. Yeah, so I've got like this
cool.
first poems here, and then like just a very rough outline of the art that I'm going to then scan into the computer and do like digital art of.
That's cute.
That's very cool.
So right now I'm kind of working on storyboarding and trying to like brainstorm ideas for like how I might map out the illustrations on each page before this weekend. My goal is to then I got new art software. So I'm going to start experimenting with that and seeing like what I might want to do.
Cool. Very cool. All right. Sarah got 91 I don't know why I almost said 91 nerds. 91 nerds on her second draft of the historical mystery she's working on. Also had to retrieve the cat from the room where my husband's working from home. She got the yowling during his Zoom meeting. My dog is constantly barking on live streams, and yeah, exactly. All right, Adega Outlaw says writing the build up to space combat. Love that.
Space combat.
I know, that sounds good, doesn't it? Dal says searching for my self-made instrumental for the finished song I'll sing today at the karaoke party. I love that. I just saw this yesterday. Who was it? It's BC Brown who's doing like karaoke live stream.
Yeah, she's doing that tonight. Yeah.
I think that's just hilarious. BC Brown says the drawings for your tarot are awesome, which they totally are. Yes. She's got 236 working on the third book in her Metaphysical Chronicles Paranormal Mystery Series. Love that. Geek got 57 words trying to come up with a horror short story. Okay, well, when the bad guy appears, everybody runs upstairs.
Yeah. And nobody gets in the car. They're all like, let's hide in the closet. Like the military and me, when I watch some of these movies, I'm like, what are you doing?
I have grown to appreciate them. All right. Elizabeth Fairfax says SKA Swordplay Books, Joan Ninja Hen. What does SKA stand for?
That's what's in front of the thing for the company that I found that did the manuals of how to use swords. Sorry, I only like quickly briefed at it, so I'm like.
All right. All right, fantastic. I don't know what this. Adega Outlaw came in late and said, "Ooh, I'm sorry, I'm late." And I said, "No big deal. It was the first 5-minute sprint, so like you're not really late." But see how savvy, bringing some shade, today. All right, so Joanne says I'm working on survey forms for my betas. That's fantastic. I've flipped around here. All right, we have a Wavemaker update. Michael says Wavemaker is still there, but instead of an independent app, it's now a website, but all my data is still there.
That's good.
That is good. All right. Debbie Renault. Now I know Debbie Renault. Thumbnailing my next chapter for my webcomic Wolf Moon. Ooh, that's
cool.
I know, right? All right. Joan Ninja Hen says Elizabeth Fairfax. That's not it. BC Brown Books. Dal Cecil Runo, I'm so excited to hear you sing at today's Authortube karaoke party, both in Finnish and in English. There we go. Really, we have quite the crowd here. I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot of talent amongst our little Authortube family here. I'm super excited. All right.
do a tag called like Authortube talent show or something.
That would be so cool.
That would be hilarious. I would tune in to watch that. I feel like it should be on a weekend night and there should be drinking involved. That's all I'm saying.
That'd be nice.
Okay. BC Brown, I adore beta surveys. I really love hearing feedback on my writing to make it better. Who loves that? Some people love it. Some people don't. I actually generally enjoy it. Although I do not generally I don't do a big like formal beta read. Like I have a couple people that I rely on to read my stuff. And some of them are harsher than others.
Yeah, my writing wife has no mercy with me. Like at one point, like I sent her my manuscript on something I'm working about and she highlighted it and she just wrote "do better" on it. And I was like, like if anybody else did that, I'd be like, I'm gonna fight you, but she did it. So I was like, my feelings are hurt, but okay.
But okay. I had that happen like with my agent who I love. She actually gives really good notes. Some agents give terrible notes. Some agents do not give any notes at all. Stephanie gives really good notes. And generally I don't get a lot of notes, but on Single-Minded, I had gone through this like horrific life event. And here I am trying to write this romantic comedy. And I send her the first draft, which is very dark. And she sends it back and is like, this is a romantic comedy. It is not romantic and it is not funny. And so I was, okay. Which I knew. I was just waiting for someone to tell me. I was like I could just sneak it through like no one would notice.
There was one feedback I gave to somebody because they were nice and they asked. And I was like, are you sure? And they were like, yeah. And so by the time I got finished, I was like, hey, this feedback, I think I need to give it to you face to face. Because if you read what I write on the side, it's going to get lost. And so she and I probably spent like a half hour going over the comments and making sure that she understood what I was trying to say. Because I was like, I don't want you to hate me.
No, well, and there's a way to do it. If you're good at giving feedback, I mean, sometimes you have to be brutal. And honestly, I would rather have one of my early readers be tough on me than my readers after the book is out and it cannot be changed because it's in hardcover. Like I would much rather a little pain earlier in the process is worth the better book that you get later. So, yeah. All right. So let's go. We're going to go through a couple more comments and then we are going to get back at it. We're going to get some good writing today. All right. BC Brown says she's a hell of a brainstormer. All right, fantastic. All right, Michael is grateful he didn't flip out, right? Oh my gosh, when you feel like you've lost everything, that's like this visceral panic. Yeah, good job. Computer not out the window, keeping his cool. Nice work, Michael. We're very proud of you. All right, CEO Savvy, can't wait for tonight. It was fun. I had a really good time, I will say, last time. All right, Authortube karaoke live stream. All right, fantastic. This is hilarious. Okay, Nihilist Geek says, thanks for all the horror story advice. We'll use them on my next Scream tribute story. All right. Oh, and Dal is taking us out. Oh, who's that? Sarah, thank you so much. Oh,
Yes.
That's very sweet.
You know what I think it is, getting back to horror movies? Backtracking a little bit, the bad things where they're running upstairs and hiding in the closet or under their bed.
Yeah.
I noticed, because I used to read a lot of horror as a kid, and one of the first things I noticed Stephen King did is he remembers what scares you as a kid. And I think that's the psychology behind all horror. When you're a kid, you run upstairs and you hide in your closet, you hide under your bed.
Right.
And how many times do we see that in horror movies? It's
Right.
your childhood fears or attempting to do that.
You resort back to a basic fundamental mindset. Yeah.
Right. That's true. People, you can, like, something, you feel like something's wrong, but you can't see it. Clowns. A lot of people are terrified of clowns. Shoes under the bed, whatever's in the closet. Yeah, I think that's true. I just, yeah. And probably some other stuff. Think about how many horror movies are set at camp. And I'll bet a lot of kids are really terrified the first time they ever go to camp by themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, good. I was going to go in a whole, like, Sex in the Woods thing, and I'm just going to avoid that, or I'll save it for the next time. Let's go ahead and get up our, let me stop our screen share. I'll get our timer going here. We are going to start with a 20-minute sprint today. Let me get rolling on that. Sorry, you guys. All right, that's good. I've got it. It's under control now. Here we go. All right, we're going to get started in 3, 2, 1. Everybody write. on the phone. Okay, we're back. Oh, Savvy muted herself.
Oh, I'm back.
All right. I had a crazy thing going on with my hair here today. I'm not quite sure what that is. I'd like to apologize.
I've got a full mullet at this point, so.
I like, my hair is so long. I literally am considering having like someone in my family cut it. We'll see. I cut my own bangs. I feel like that might have been a mistake, but at least I can see now, so that's good. Yes. All right. How did everybody do? You guys let us know what you're working, how you're working in the comments. There was a whole funny thing. You guys are kind of on fire today. I don't know if everybody's like totally punchy or what the deal is. But yeah. So, oh, I still have the banner going. Hold on, let me grab that. Let's take that off.
You're better than me. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't care. It's just going to stay there.
You can just keep it going. That's good. That's fantastic. All right. So where did we start? Zoe's here. Hey, Zoe. We're so glad you made it. I love that, like, the avatar. That's a fantastic pose. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Key Clavis, greetings and hallucinations.
Ooh.
Love that. There's more of an explanation, though. All right. Okay. So Sarah says, I think you see those things because this is from what we were talking about before for everybody who joined us during the sprint. We were talking about how horror movie tropes, you know, running upstairs, hiding in the closet, hiding under the bed, clowns, camps, etc. are Robert mentioned that these are things that we are afraid of when we're kids and ways that we would react if we're kids. So yeah, that's true too. The idea too about being home alone. You're onto something there, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very base and primal, and it's what we do when we're not really thinking, and they want you to remember that.
Yeah, yeah, it works. It totally works. Hello, says Mary. Hello, we're so glad you made it today. Eva says she's not quite writing yet, but she'll be back before we're done. She wanted to stop in and say hi, give the video a thumbs up. Thank you, Eva. That's so sweet of you. Mm-hmm. Michael says, I forgot to give the video a thumbs up. I'm such a bad sheep. This was from Carrow's stream yesterday, which is great. And then Key Clavis comes in with Baba. And then there was a whole like thread of, wait, is the single of sheep shoop? If not, maybe it should be. It's the plural of sheep ship. And I said, we love you anyway. All right. So, and Key Clavis has not gone to bed. So a little loopy. I think
relatable.
Right?
Very relatable. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to, when I was in the military, sometimes we'd have to stay up for obviously very long periods of time. And I very quickly learned that my threshold was 2 days. Because after 2 days, that's just when like this Carrow is gone and like the Carrow that you don't see suddenly like shows up and everything's funny and everything's a joke. I get in trouble with officers. It's great.
Yeah, I can't stay up as late as I can't function. I used to be able to go for a couple days with not very much sleep. I find Robert can probably relate because you two are the youngsters in the crowd, right? I can't do it anymore. I can't. I'm like, ooh, bedtime.
Even when I was younger, 24 hours staying up, I was loopy and gone.
Yeah,
I need a ton of sleep. I sleep like 9 to 10 hours a night.
Me too. I love that. I actually don't get that much, but if I were able to, that would be ideal for me. I love to. I have like the comfiest bed ever. Okay. So Nihilist Geek says he's been editing tomorrow's video. Yay. We can't wait to see that. Debbie got a page thumbnail. Yay. That's fantastic. Key Clavis edited 5 pages. Yay. BC Brown killing it. 869 words. That is absolutely fantastic. Yay. Sarah Keeve 251. All right. Mary got almost to the end of chapter 73. You guys are killing it today. Nice work. Zoe edited a few pages, actually going really well. This is the thing about editing, right? You don't get to put up the big numbers, but that is awesome. Robert feels your pain because he was editing for a while, right? And we'd be like, 700 words. And he'd be like, I got 2 pages. But editing is hard, but it is the most important work. So, well, it's not the most, right? It's right up there, though, right? Writing, editing.
It's hard when you haven't done it in a while and you're fast drafting a series and then come back. And I fast drafted 2 series and came back to editing, and I'm like, I'm lost now. I need to draft because I'm in draft mode constantly.
Yes, that is true. That is true. BC Brown says we're all pajama punchy. Adega Outlaw, I wrote. I have no idea how much, but it was significant. Yay! Woo! Okay. Joan Ninja Hen says, dear authors, I watched Carol's video on betas and she mentioned giving her book out in parts to them. Do you do the parts thing too, or do you send everything? Good question. I send everything. What do you guys do?
I send it in parts because my novels are usually like over 100,000 words long, and I want them to feel like they can actually read it. So if I do it in like a couple of chapter chunks, like, oh, I can read 2 chapters, that's fine. But if I give them like the whole thing, they're like, ah! So.
But then you're like a drug dealer, right? You give them the good stuff, and then they got to come back to you. Just give me 2 more chapters, Carol, please.
Yeah, pretty much. But that's why I do it. I know some folks are kind of like, here's the entire book, go ahead and read it. I mean, it depends on your betas, because some betas do want it like all at once, and some are kind of like, no, I don't have time to read your entire massive tome. Please just send me like 2 chapters. So
I know I mean, in the sort of traditional sense, I do really sort of skip the betas. Like I usually do my draft to get it as tight as I can on my own. Then I send it to my agent, my mother, and Mike is a really good reader. He's probably harder on me than anybody else, and a couple of other author friends. And then usually sort of get back like the blurb and
That's totally the beta phase. What are you talking about?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I go like the blurb and the notes. Is that not? I always think of beta as like a more sort of in the middle kind of a process. But yeah, I don't know. Just a couple. I guess so, right? But I don't send out a questionnaire. I don't ask for extensive notes. But there are people that I send to. I know will send me. I don't do a lot of notes.
Everybody does the beta process different. So.
Yeah. All right. So I am doing a beta thing. All right. Fantastic. Good to know.
Right.
Okay. What about you, Robert? What's your big plan here?
Well, my big plan when I look for beta readers is maybe send out, like editors do sample chapters, maybe send out some sample chapters. I don't know exactly. I'm sure I'll find beta readers in the community, but
I'm sure you will.
I don't know if they will necessarily want to read specific things outside of their genre, which is the reaction I've gotten so far, which I think is a little bit, I think we all do it. We get stuck in that genre that we want to write in, and we don't really know it, but then we get trapped in that box that we know that genre and nothing else. But looking outside of it and reading outside of it, which is what my early mentors told me to do, then you pick up things, and when you get that question of how can I make this book different than everybody else's, well, you read outside of your genre and you get different ideas.
All right. Okay. Well, that's good. What about you, Savvy?
I guess for beta reading, like it depends on me whether I'm doing it with a critique group or with like a specific beta reader, because the majority of it I like send to my critique group. I will do like a chapter here and there over like the course of a couple months. But if I'm in like a final stage beyond that and I'm looking for additional beta readers, I'll send them the whole thing at once. So I don't know. I'm not actually very organized with the beta process whatsoever. So I kind of wing it with that.
Yeah, not everybody really responds well to the beta process either. Like, there's a friend of mine who writes romance, and she's very interesting. Because what she does is she writes the book, sends it to the editor, writes another book, sends that to the editor. So when she got picked up by a publisher, they're like, "Hey, we have to run your manuscript through some beta so that way they can make changes to it." And I felt kind of bad. Huh?
The publisher said that?
yeah, we're gonna run your stuff through some betas. Like they had like in-house betas that they wanted to run it through. And she did not respond very well to that at all, because the first thing that they did is she wrote a story that had like some science in it. And in the betas, there were people who actually worked in scientific fields, and they were like, your science is wrong on this. That doesn't make any sense. And that's not how labs work at all. And she like had like a meltdown over it. And at one point I was like, if you did it wrong, this is your time to fix it. And she's like, I'm not fixing it. I refuse to fix this. And I was like, you might want to fix it now instead of when it gets...
read about it in Amazon comments. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. But she didn't fix it, and it went published. And what was the first thing that happened? People came in. It's like, I work in a lab, and that's not how this works, and that's not sanitary, and that's against protocol. And I'm like, it really is a bad look if you don't do your research.
Yeah, well, and also it can be really fun to do research. I got one of my closest friends who he passed away a couple of years ago, but I just loved him to pieces. When I was writing 15 Minutes of Shame, one of the main characters was an attorney, a divorce attorney. Mm-hmm. And the lead character is like a stepmother, and I had her have 2 kids that were stepchildren as sort of a plot device, but they actually sort of became a bigger part of the story. And I had the main character like trying to fight in family court to actually get some, custody or time sharing with these kids who she had essentially raised, but she didn't have any, blood relation to. And it's a very, at the time, this is 2008, was really an emerging area of family law. And I ended up talking to this guy for an interview on something else, who happens to be like the foremost expert on step-parents' rights in the country. His name is John Mayu. And he ended up being one of my really good friends. He's this old, Southern boy, delightful gentleman, and had represented like Chris Rock and Marianne Gingrich and he has a fascinating, he represented like all the Real Housewives of Atlanta. He has like this fascinating client list and was just one of the most interesting people I've ever met. So the moral of that long ass story that I meant to do for like 30 seconds is do your research, because you may end up meeting someone really awesome. Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. We have some comments. Sarah says, I do parts, but that's partly so I keep working and I don't have to finish the whole thing. Interesting. Okay, good. I feel you. Editing is so hard. Dal rehearsed with the instrumental. She blanked on the second verse, rehearsed the original song, and now she's ready for the big performance at karaoke author time. All right. Oh, that's interesting. So when people are waiting, then you're more likely to do the editing. So it's like a treat for them and a treat for you. Editing is a nightmare.
Very good plan.
Oh, that's really funny. Okay, we're back to sleep. Dal sleeps too much.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Way too much.
I love sleeping. I think if you're sleeping a lot, you're either depressed or you really are tired and you need it.
I'm always like really tired. Like right now I'm really tired, and I slept for like almost 10 hours last night.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of 10 hours, BC Brown says she's a 10 minutes of hair, 10 minutes of makeup, 10 hours of sleep, just like you. All right. Mary, not sleeping, staying up very late, exploring YouTube rabbit hole. That will keep you up past your bedtime for sure. Yeah, definitely. I find that I stay up a lot later and get up a lot earlier when I'm at the very end of the book. You guys have that same experience?
Yeah, like I was up until 1 a.m. last night reading a book, so I understand.
Ooh. What about you, Robert?
I've been a bit variable. I've taken a few naps, and I've definitely been more warm. A little claustrophobic, I think. When all this is over, we're going to walk outside and say, what's that big orange thing in the sky?
I think you're right. All right. Nihilist Geek has a beta reading method, but I want to go ahead and get us back to doing some sprints. So let me pull this timer back here. What did I do? And we will get started with another sprint. I want to make sure people are getting their words in today. And then we will talk some more about beta reading because Nihilist Geek apparently has something new and exciting to share. All right, here we go. There's our timer. We're going to do a 20-minute sprint in 3, 2, 1, go. right. Let me see if I'm muted. Okay. All right. So Carol's still typing away. I am finding this beta discussion really fascinating, mostly because of when I said, well, I don't really have beta readers. And then Carol made that funny face at me. It occurs to me, though, that I think it might be that I'm using a different vernacular because I come from a traditional publishing background, and the timeline is a lot longer, right? So I think that the reason you'd have these like more layers of readers, and why it would be a concern to give someone the whole manuscript versus parts of a manuscript, is you probably have a lot tighter turnaround, right, for beta readers. I know I'm going to go back to that. I think a couple of people had commented in this that they beta read and that they appreciate it broken up into parts so that they can manage their time better. And again, I'm coming from this perspective that I finish a book. I usually have a deadline for it, so I end up turning it into my agent. At the same time, I turn it into I give it to my mom and a couple of like reader friends, author friends, not readers per se, but other authors, and whose books I also generally will read. But all that, it's already gone to the publisher by that time, though, and I'll still have like another round of edits. So are these? I always think of them as like critique partners. Is this another word for an alpha reader?
Beta readers and critique partners are a little different because a beta reader is going to be like your typical reader who's going to give you a reader reaction. So where a critique partner is going to actually look at the nitty gritty of your writing. So like, for example, like let's use my sister for an example. My sister is much younger than me. And so when I give her something to read, I know that she's just going to give me a reader, reaction. She's like, I like this character. They're funny. This passage, I don't know what's going on. It's hard to read. That's the kind of feedback she's going to give. If I go through and I read it, I'm going to be kind of like, hey, on this thing, I need you to go on with this sentence for about 2 more beats. So that way it flows a lot more naturally into the following paragraph. Or then I'll be like, hey, I noticed in your character arc that at this point, like you missed the step where you could have exposed the lie for the character and like, kind of really it's a little bit of a different feedback system that way.
Okay, that's interesting. I feel like I get both types of feedback from my current sort of stable of people, but yeah, I really am, and I think the other thing is that beta readers are something that name and that practice I think have become so much more accepted and expected, like maybe the last 10 years or so. So it really is interesting to me, because when I think about the idea of sending out parts of your book to people who are just reading it as readers, so early on, it seems so foreign to me. So I'm really interested in everybody's experience that way. Geek had said, so let me drag back. We have a ton of comments.
That you have more professional beta. I think what I would like to do is what Stephen King said, is use the demographic, and like we're doing in WordStock, have some some people that are starting out, because you get a broader view of the audience that way. And then the demographic, I believe. At least that's my.
No, I think there's something to that. Although definitely the people who I trust on their advice, and they're not all authors, so maybe I do have beta readers and I just never thought of it that way. I do get those sort of reactions. It's the whole thing, like, it's so funny, but I hadn't really thought about it. I just, until now, like, oh, well, maybe I do have that, and I just don't call it that. Or maybe it's because I'm used to just a different timeline. yeah, so I think there's something to that about not getting only other, comments from other writers, because, and you have different partners, different readers for who give you different things. Like my one friend Lisa, who's also she writes nonfiction, but she's really good with people stuff. If I'm ever missing like a good motivation, she will be the person like, why would anybody do that? Or this doesn't feel like a feeling that a person would have around this, or this feels like she's holding something back. And she is, just as a person, someone who's really good at reading other people, and so she's also really good at reading characters. Now, I do think that's really interesting. And then I have some people who just want to read the stuff like for fun, like my niece. So yeah, okay, so this is good.
I always wanted to find out what the person or comic book reader thought when I was working in the industry.
Right.
And since people didn't generally know who I was, I would go to comic shops and I would ask people questions, and they would give me their honest opinions. And then I would go back to my creative team and I would say, well, here's what this person says and here's what that person says. If we're going to try to up our game, how can we try this or that? And sometimes they were really shitty about their critiques. I would tell them who I was, and then they totally change it. Oh, well, it's really good.
Yeah, but if you're going to feedback, if you're talking to the person, then I think the one time I got a critique and I had to like check somebody, because in my story, like in my main story, like Queen of Swords and Silence, Ghost has a Glock, right? So I'm military. I own this weapon that she uses, and I had my manuscript go through like 3 Marines. So I'm pretty confident about my gun terminology in this book. And so somebody sent me like a private message basically saying, it's like, hey, I just wanted to check you on the way that you wrote about this firearm and blah, 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 blah. And at the time I was like, no, maybe I need to take a breath. Maybe I need to go and reconvene and have a thought. And then they sent a follow-up email. It's like, hey, I stalked your social media and I just realized I told a military person how to use a gun. Please disregard all gun comments. And I was like, validated.
Done. Well, and you do have to have people that you trust. Like, I would not write about a topic that I was unfamiliar with without talking to several experts and having them check that part of the writing. So just to make sure that I'm not, talking about what kind of a hole a Glock makes in your head, thinking it's one, and it's a big gigantic hole when it's actually a little and I don't have any idea because I don't write those kinds of books. Nobody gets shot in my books ever. But but if I were going to write a book where somebody got killed, I would call like Doug Lyle, who is a forensic pathologist and a writer and has, written a million books, both fiction and nonfiction, about what kind of hole a bullet from a Glock makes when it goes in your head. And he'll probably send you a picture of what it looks like.
There's
bigger hole coming out.
Right.
Yeah, it's always interesting when people like want to bring like these murder mysteries to like the physical group when we can go to the physical group, because the first thing that we'll ask, like, okay, so what weapon was used for this? And they're kind of like, why does that matter? It's like, well, because you have blood splatters on this side of the wall, and then you have this kind of thing going over here, so they either use this or that, and that doesn't make any sense. And then we get into like this long discussion about what weapon does what discharge and all this other stuff, and the person's usually very disturbed by the end of this conversation because we basically have gone way too much into detail about how to like end somebody's life, and they're not ready for that.
Well, I feel like if you're going to write a story about murder, you've got to expect to be a little bit disturbed during the process. Like, you just got to go into it knowing that.
Yeah, and then we end it with like, we're all on the list. We know we're on the list.
Right? Just our web searches alone, for God's sakes. That's the thing is, I guess, I guess it's I have a crazy ass hair thing going on here. Okay, so I guess, yeah. I mean, for me, I always appreciate that kind of feedback, but I think I get it way earlier in the process. So yeah, okay, good. All right, so BC Brown says she gives her books out in parts. Sarah says the other thing about sending everything is I end up having to remove betas after the first wave when they realize they don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So like for me, when I'm sending it out, like my mother, she can finish it whenever she wants. But with some other authors, I'll say like, okay, my blurb deadline is this, because you need to get, your blurb in before the arc gets printed. And so, but usually it's several months that they have, especially if you're sending it right as soon as you're done writing it. Okay. Sky says, I've been sending in parts, but that there's one project I'll be updating in parts, but everything will be in one document rather than each part separately.
That's smart.
Right. Geek says, a beta reading method called the minimum viable product method, which sounds like something that you would use to manufacture cans, where authors give increments of their work to check if their idea works.
Interest check, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I figure if a publisher is paying me for it, that it's going to work. I don't know. Don't you know, too, when you put together a story, whether it's going to work or not? Like, it might not work yet, but if you keep managing it, that like if you keep working on it, that it will eventually work.
Well, I guess it really kind of depends on the individual and how they want to write it. Because there was one gentleman who I was critiquing his like space sci-fi thing, and at one point I said this is not working, and he's like, no, it has to do this because this is how the story progresses. It's like, I understand that, but you were literally telling everyone of your readers that that's the bad guy. Like, there's no question about it. That's him right there. Like, your average Joe is going to know this, and that's supposed to be your big plot twist at the end. He's like, well, I can't change it. I was like, you have to.
Okay, but everybody's going to stop reading at page 87.
Yeah. When you do, it's just sometimes when people write stuff, they get so stuck in the moment of like, this is what has to happen for this to happen, that when they need somebody else to come and say, it's like, I see what you're doing, it's not going to work, here are maybe some suggestions that you can try. That's usually how I try to do something, saying, this sucks.
When I read a book, I'm a fast reader, though. That's another thing, right? If somebody sends me their manuscript and if I have time to read it, I will finish it usually in a day or a day and a half. I'm a pretty quick reader. So, and maybe that has, although there are sometimes when I do not, like my best friend could say, hey, can you please read my book? And I could not get it done. But for the most part, if I am able to make the time and I know when it's due, I can figure out a time to sort of crowbar it in. So I had a point on that, and I don't remember what it was. I think I started reading this. CO Savvy said, I send everything questions in between 60,000 words. I would consider parts once it crossed 100K. That's a good point. My stuff tends to be like 75,000 words, maybe 100. But like Carol, you write in a genre. What are your average books? What length?
So I write in urban fantasy, and because there's a lot of
longer.
Yeah, so that's anywhere between. So the ideal word count for urban fantasy is anywhere between 80 and up to 110,000 for your first. Yeah. And then you start getting dedicated readers, and they kind of like don't care about your word count, like Jim Butcher. But so that's usually kind of like ideally how they want you to start, and then it can go anywhere.
Right. So 110 sort of your top end there. So I can actually see that with a longer book, why that might be another reason to break things up. Savvy, do you read for other people? Do you beta read? Nothing but usually.
Oh yeah, not usually. I don't usually beta. Like I do critique group stuff sometimes, and I have like a writing group that is now meeting on Zoom on Thursdays, but we used to meet in person. And I also have like an email critique group. So I read other people's writing and give feedback in that way, but I don't usually sign up to be betas for other, like sometimes if someone asks me specifically, then I will, but for the most part, I don't like put myself out there for that, just because like, I don't trust that I'll get it done in time, just because I tend to get overwhelmed having too much work to do. So I don't usually.
I've had some people ask me to read their stuff, and I'm like, well, what is it? And they'll be like, well, it's my first thing, and it's this long. And I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, I have to do this, that, and that. I'll figure out to fit that in. And I've had to honestly be like, I want to, I don't have time.
Yeah, I will. If it's somebody who's new, you always want to give people the opportunity if you have time to work it in. And so if someone is new and I have not, it's their first book or I haven't read their stuff, then I will usually ask to see like the first 3 chapters. And I can generally tell in the first 3 chapters if the book is going to need a lot of work or a little work. And I'd rather not see it at the like, you know, that early disaster stage that we all have.
Yeah.
So,
some people aren't ready for that either. Like, there was like my free time activity is actually going into video games and like role playing in them. You know, I pretend to be my character and I run around and do things.
Well, that's super fun. You should make a video on that.
I'm thinking about it.
I would watch that. That sounds really good.
Okay. But there was a guy that I used to actually do this with like years ago. And at the time he was like, well, I'm a writer. You know, he said it like that. And I'm like, good for you. Right.
Right, of course. Good.
Yeah. So at one point he was like, hey, you want to read my stuff? And I was like, sure, I'll read your stuff. And then I read it and I was like, did you have an editor for this? And he was like, my friend edited it. And I was like, is your friend an editor? And he's like, no, but my friend edited it. And I was like, And then he said, and then he was trying to query for a little while. And so when he was querying, I had already gotten accepted by somebody and he didn't realize that. Because in my gaming community, I'm not really kind of like in people's faces about the writer thing because I don't want to be that person.
Right.
But at one point he was just like, yeah, I keep querying this to agents and they keep turning it down. And I was like, well, friend, you should probably polish up those first like 20 pages and make sure it's got these things in there and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, you sound really knowledgeable about this. And I was like, I've done it a few times. Hey, here's my friend who's an editor. I think you should probably go talk to them. And he was not ready for that feedback because in the time it took her to edit 5 of his pages, she would have normally have edited 20 pages.
That's a hard conversation to have. Although I will say the people who take that feedback and use it are the ones that ultimately I think are more successful. I had a really good friend of mine who was is a doctor, was a fantastic doctor, and he really wanted to write like medical thrillers. And he sent me his book and he was my doctor. I really liked him and he was a very smart, funny guy. So I'm like, okay, great, I'll read it. But I said, I can only read the first 3 chapters and then I'll, if I have more time, I'll let you know. And I read the first 3 chapters. They were from different points of view but they all sounded the same. And it was such an interesting idea, but it was so like a Michael Crichton kind of idea. It was a really great concept, but he just did not have it with the way he was telling the story, and it had a bunch of problems. And that was only the first 3 chapters. And so I said, I love you, but here's what you need to do. And he took my advice. He got a professional developmental editor to look at it. He worked on that thing for another year and eventually it got published. So it was a small house, but he was really proud of it. And it turned out to be a much better book. All right. BC Brown says alpha and beta process is different for everyone. Well, that's good. I feel like for a minute there, I was feeling left out of the party.
There's no uniform system. They just encourage you to have it.
Yeah. Jamie and I have never had beta readers. We've always been each other's betas, but we do plan to start looking for them at some point, hopefully soon. BC has a stable of alphas and betas based on genre, demographics, and fan willing. Mary, technically we're each other's alphas, not betas. BC Brown, not shockingly, hyper organized with her beta process. This is not a surprise. This is as surprising as if Carrow said, I have a spreadsheet for my beta.
I do. I have an interest form and I have a whole bunch of other stuff.
I get. Well, I do love the concept of this, and maybe it's interesting. I think it's always a good idea to change up your process because it's very easy to sort of do what you have always done. And yet, if you do that, you don't really grow. So maybe I'll have to start rounding up some betas. We'll see. We'll see how I do. All right. Mary says, start looking for betas around the end of the second draft. That's the draft I send to my publisher. That way you're ready for them, and they're for you.
You're like 8 books in. You've got your process down.
I do have it down, right? I do. I usually do a really tight first draft, and this one that I'm working on now is more like unwieldy. And I swear to God, it's because I wrote it during Nano. My first one that I wrote with Nano, great, no problem. This one has had so many little editing problems and missed things. I don't think I'll do it again, honestly. But yeah, generally speaking, it's before I finish it, it's sold. It has a deadline. I have people that that I'm contractually obligated to get it to, and then the rest of it is sort of extra. And also, I know I'm going to have another round of edits, like that. The main editor will go through, and I can make any bigger changes that I need to at that time. And then you have actually technically one more chance when they do the line editing. So
I don't want you to miss this one question. Michaela's asking what the name of that medical thriller is.
Oh, I have to look it up. He had it. Hold on. I'll have to look it up. His name is Robert Carlson, ND.
There you go.
It's much better than it was. I don't remember what it was. All right, here we go. All right. Sky says, I'd like to add a couple more betas who are straight readers rather than writers, but the people like that I know that are like that will say it's good, and that's it.
Yeah, no good. That doesn't actually help.
It doesn't. Well, it's good for your ego, but you shouldn't have more. Your mother can read it and say that, but everybody else should actually, be giving you some critique. All right. Warren Ellis, more of a character-based writer. Haven't read his work in a while. Where did that come from, Robert?
That was talking about a comic book that I worked on and how it kept changing creative teams and what happened to the book after I left it.
Yeah. All right, that's good. I just saw it up there with Geek. Sorry, I'm trying to pop through and make sure I get everybody's comments before we go. Carrow BC Brown says she's with you on having a spreadsheet. Spreadsheet sisters. All right, am I wrong, or is Mary Wimbley and Jamie each other's critique partners since they're both writers? I thought betas weren't necessarily writers, but definitely readers. Right, so this is my sort of question. I feel like everybody's been given new names while I wasn't looking. Right, so I always think of the other writers that I read their work, they read my work. Generally, again, while it's been turned into your editor, but it's before you're doing your line edits, so you have one more round. I always think of those people as critique partners. I give comments on their stuff. They give comments on my stuff. I say, like, hey, this bothers me, or I feel like you need to stretch this out more, or whatever. So structural issues and, sort of craft issues. But I also say, oh my God, I'm totally swooning over this character, or I love this part, or this made me bawl my eyes out at 3 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, okay, so my definition didn't come from me. I got it from Writer's Digest, and I also got it from Reedy. And so when they're talking about the difference between beta readers and critique partners is basically just how in-depth the feedback is going to get. So, for example, my husband is a beta reader, right? He's going to go in, he's going to say what makes sense, what he likes, what he doesn't like, and stuff like that. My writing wife is a critique partner because she's going to talk about the beat. She's going to talk about the story mechanics. She's going to do all of that stuff on top of whatever other feedback that she may give. So it's really more of like the type of information that you're going to get back, if that makes any sense. Alpha readers are usually the people who are going to read like your first draft. Like I just quickly wrote this. Tell me if it's worth writing, and they'll look at it and it's like, yeah, it's a great idea. Polish it up. And then your betas are going to blah 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 blah. So. And you can blame the gaming industry for all these terms coming up because they are the ones who came up with this. Because when they have new games or programs or applications that come into development, they'll have their alphas that will go and stress test it, and then they'll have the betas that will go in and trying to find glitches and where they can jump through walls and fix that. That you can blame the gaming community for all that.
I do. I blame them for everything. No, I'm kidding. All right. Michaela, I don't know if that was the final title of it. It's literally been 10 years since I read the original draft, and probably 8 years since I read the edited draft. I don't know. I haven't. He is a really interesting guy. He actually ended up having like a stroke, and he worked for like a year and a half or 2 years to like get back to, you know, sort of being able to be a physician again and function again. So I haven't. It's been ages since I read it. I don't remember if that was it. That's a terrible title though. The Diabolical Doctor. It's a terrible title. I love him, but that's a terrible. I will say this about him: he's a great doctor. All right, so
Saturday matinee movie serial.
It does, doesn't it? A little bit. It does a little bit. It's a terrible title. God help him. All right, so the first draft was really terrible, but like I said, the one that I read later that was done by a professional editor was significantly improved. All right, so we're going to go through a couple more questions or little comments. Critique readers get the first draft. Eva prefers questions to answer while beta reading or becomes a CP situation. Somebody translate, what's that? CP? Oh, critique partner. Got it. All right. Sky says, I don't need that kind of feedback, so I just tell them thanks for the offer, but I'm good. All right.
I think the idea of beta readers and just getting a reader in there, a reader and a writer, is two totally different things. I think combining them would be good, but if they don't have any writing experience, they're going to send you running all over the map.
Yeah.
Because anytime I've had a reader read my work, they will give me feedback based on what they think as a reader, and it has nothing to do with putting the story together. The craft,
Right.
you get good things out of it. There's takeaways, but mostly it doesn't help.
Well, yeah, that's true. There certainly readers are not going to be able to tell you who or like what the problems are, but they could definitely tell you when something feels wrong or where they started to put the book down. Because that is one thing I always want to find out, like, where was it in the book that you like ate dinner? That's what I want to know. Like, where did they feel like they could put it down for a minute? Because I have to take that part out immediately. If they can put it down, it doesn't belong in the book. All right. All right. You guys are awesome. We've gone 6 minutes over, but it's not as bad as usual. Thank you so much to everybody for being here today. And I feel like this is a really good conversation about alpha readers and beta readers. Well, Michaela says, I've had other writers give me poor editing advice, which is worrying.
It happens. You'll have some writers that will come in and be like, well, I wouldn't have written it this way, so I'm going to help you change it. And sometimes they really impede on things like author voice, or it's just like, you need to calm down.
Yeah. I think that's true. And sometimes they're not, when a lot of times when people, I was thinking about what you were saying earlier about the person who was in the gaming community with you, who was querying his book and not having much luck. And one of the things I think was interesting about that is that a lot of times newer writers will feel like, well, I've had my book edited because I know an English teacher and she looked at it and corrected all the punctuation and spelling mistakes. And that's not the same as developmental editing, which in particular, like new writers, everybody needs it, but new writers in particular really need that. And so that isn't the same thing. That's sort of a function of a line editor to check that, you know, whether there's a hyphen that goes here or not. So there's that. Thank you, Eva. That was a very nice comment of you. Those parts where the readers felt like they could eat dinner is exactly what I use my betas for. All right, good. Okay. Well, I might need to get some beta. I'm all for trying new things. There are always new and better ways to try things. So legendary comic book writer told me a trade secret. Everybody thinks they can write. That is true. There's a quote about that, and I don't remember what it is. And it reminds me of another quote who I don't remember said, but you guys probably remember who the original author was, and it was that your book is both good and original, the parts that are good aren't original, and the parts that are original aren't good.
I don't know who said that off the top of my head.
All right. Thanks for the stream in the chat. Great combo. Thank you guys all so much for being here. I'm going to let everybody.
I read that. Yeah, I read that too. That's like one of my favorite genres.
Very good. Sage advice, not sag advice. Thank you, says Joan Ninja Hen. Before we go, I want my lovely and talented co-host to give a little outro sign off and let everybody know who they are. You guys should definitely check out their channels if you haven't not already. They're awesome. Thanks, Zoe. Thanks so much. All right. So, Robert, you go first this time.
Well, as I said, my channel is The Story Detective. I look at everything through story-oriented eyes. I learned to storytell from pretty much everything. And I studied narrative art in art school, and that was a different form of storytelling, film and storyboards and comic books. And coming from that, I look at it from a visual kind of way that's I think been helpful, and there's a lot of things in there that the writing community I think could learn from. So we're going to be getting into that very soon on my channel because I've had people asking about that and correlating my comic book career with writing. So it's coming up.
I think that's great. I will say, like, I think your take on craft is spot on. There are a lot of things that you cover, and if I did not know differently, I would think you had 30 books under your belt. Like, you really cover craft very well. Like someone who really knows what the hell he's talking about. So that's always a plus.
Friends of everybody that I've worked with, or, you know, I've co-plotted stories without any credit, and I've just had good teachers, so.
Look at Robert blushing. That's adorable. Speaking of people who know what they're talking about, Carrow Brown, tell us about your channel.
On my channel, I usually talk about the life of a writer, sometimes under the influence of wine. It kind of depends. You'll find some writing advice. You'll find some passion projects. You'll find me doing drunk book reviews like this Friday. So if that's something that you like, that's over there. I am the operations director over at Otherworlds Inc., who are currently open to submissions for manuscripts. So if you have something that is polished and ready to turn in, please go over to otherworldsinc.com and give it to me.
Right. Excellent. Thank you. And Savvy, tell us all about you.
Hello, I'm Savvy from the channel Savvy Writes Books. I am an author and a small business owner. I'm the owner of the Forever Home Friends business, which produces children's books, stuffed animals, and other toys and merch items based on real rescue dogs, and donates to animal shelters. So that's on my channel. I talk about being a writer and being a small business owner, and I talk about kind of the small business aspects of writer life and small business scams, and sometimes we play drinking games and business scammers and that kind of thing. It's a good time. I also, a couple weeks ago, started a weekly writing sprint live stream. So that will be tonight at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern on my channel, Savvy Writes Books, which is linked in the description of this video. And on that, we do an Authortube sleepover because it's late at night. So wear some pajamas, bring some snacks. It's going to be a good time. We will get some writing done and all snuggle.
I think, yes, that live stream was a laugh riot. It was hilarious, very, very fun. So that's 10 o'clock tonight. If you're looking for other streams, Dal Cecil Runo also does live stream at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is in 45 minutes. So I guess we should wrap this up for her. And also Carrow does a live stream on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern time. I would like to give myself a shout out because I figured out when that happens 2 times in a row. Feeling pretty proud.
You showed up. I was totally surprised. Like, Lisa's here. Wow, hi, Lisa.
I know, right? I was so excited. I made it not once, twice, people. I'm managing the time. Yeah, so I'm Lisa Daly. I'm a traditionally published author. This is my channel, and this little fabulous group is here every Wednesday. You guys and us all together. We have such great, I love you guys. You're awesome. And we just have the best little stream group ever. So, right? Everybody, we have like such a good crowd that shows up every week. So I'm like super grateful for you guys. Oh my God, I didn't make you tell what you were grateful for. That's you guys go around and talk about it. Oh, you almost got out of it. You guys tell while I put the rest of the comments up. Carrow, what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for this cup of coffee that my husband brought me in the middle of the stream. It was quite well timed and appropriate.
There you go. Perfect. Robert.
I'm grateful for you guys. And I'm grateful just to be creative because not everyone is. And I don't know how the rest of the human race survives.
That's awesome. Savvy, what's your grateful?
I'm grateful that like Authortube is a thing. Just sometimes I just sit back and I think about the fact that like making videos is one of my favorite things to do other than writing, and that there is a community established already that I didn't have to start, that's already out there of people who make videos about their writing. And it's like, I can combine two things that I love and also meet new people and friends from that. It's like blows my mind how cool that is. So I'm grateful for Authortube. You guys are the best.
Yes, I too am grateful for. Okay, this is my significant other, who is like the girl, and he never comments, so this like shocked the crap out of me. Yes, this is what Thanksgiving is like at my house for sure. Thank you, honey. I am also grateful. I'm grateful for the same things you guys are grateful for. Actually, I am grateful to be creative. I am grateful to be able to write books, because it's the coolest job in the entire universe. It's just awesome. I love it. And it's hard. It's really hard. And I think that's part of what makes it kind of amazing when you have finally put this book out into the world and it's what you wanted it to be, and you've created an entire universe or world or situation from scratch, and there it is. That's, that's the thing. And I'm really grateful for all of you. It's just such an amazing community. I feel so incredibly grateful for all of you. And I'm gonna get all anyway, so I won't do that. All right, you guys are awesome. Yay, right? I'm super grateful for Authortube. I think we all are. I'm so glad we have this community. So thanks so much for showing up today, you guys. We really appreciate it. We love you. Stay safe, and we will see you next Wednesday or over on Dal or Savvy Stream, whichever comes first.
Bye.
Bye, friends.